Hello, my name's Elizabeth Sills. I am a Grants and Programmes Manager at PRS Foundation, the UK's leading charitable funder of new music and talent development. Thank you for joining us for this in conversation with the brilliant music creator Lara Jones, who received a Women Make Music grant earlier this year. So congratulations. A bit about the fund is that Women Make Music supports the development of outstanding women, trans, and non binary songwriters, composers, producers, artists, and bands of all genres and backgrounds at different stages of their career who are writing their own music. The fund offers a grants of up to £5,000, and applications are currently open and will close on the 9th of September at 6 p.m. So, thank you so much for joining us, Lara. And we're just going to ask you a few questions about your experience with the fund. Um, could you tell us a bit about yourself and how you got into creating music?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Lara. I'm a producer, a composer. I'm also a sax player and I play a bit of keys and I do a bit of vocals. Um, I started music mostly with the saxophone, was like did a lot of like jazz and improvisation. And then it kind of evolved. I started playing my saxophone with guitar pedals. And through that got more and more into electronic music until I discovered Ableton and then never really looked back. And since I've just been, yeah, composing songs, producing songs. I still do play saxophone and I like collaborate with my saxophone and stuff, but my solo music is more electronic based. It does feature some saxophone sometimes, but it's not like my only practice anymore. I've sort of, yeah, fallen into producing, composing music, and found that that's something that I really love to do. Yeah.
Great, thank you. So you talked a bit about your journey and how everything's evolved. So getting back to Women Make Music, how did you know it was the right time to apply for you to apply?
Hmm. Well, as you know, I have actually been applying for the fund for some time. Um, but and I think it's funny because I think every time that I applied, I kind of felt like it was the right time, but having been awarded it this time, I realize, like, on reflection and hindsight, why I was awarded it now and why I wasn't awarded it before. Like, it definitely made sense now. I think mostly that I had a very clear vision of what I was applying for. Um, I had a project that was sort of in the works, and I had support from um, a label and like some PR teams. I had like some people around me that were willing to invest into it. So it wasn't me just applying for like all of the money for the entire project from PRS Foundation. It was, yeah, I sort of, it was an added, like an addition that I needed. And I think before I was trying to do like everything myself, and actually quite often I was like lacking a vision. Um, but yeah, now, yeah, there was just, I think there was a clear project. I kind of simplified what I was applying for as well, because I've realized that previous times I've applied, I was trying to do so much with one fund. Whereas it was just quite sort of consolidated it. I don't know if that's the right word, but yeah, sort of made just a clear one project. There was, yeah, like I say, already in the works, and um had some people that wanted to back it. So then it kind of, yeah, it made sense.
No, that's so great. And we're so happy for you. And thank you for talking about the fact that you had applied before. Um,
Mm.
like I think it's good for people to know that you can apply before and you can apply again and you might be successful um later on.
hmm
Um, yeah, so I mean, how did you find the application process?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I think it's a really good application to do. It doesn't ask you to write loads of words, and I think or depending whether you do written or video, you can do both. So that's great. In the end, every time I've decided to do written, um, that kind of works for me. I like that you can put things in bullet points, and because there is like word limits, it does help you make it concise. And I think for me, I've realized when I was doing it a few years ago and struggling to keep it into the word count, I've realized it's because I was trying to write too much, because I was trying to apply for too much. And actually, if you can keep it in the word limit, it shows that you've got clarity in your project. So yeah, I thought it was good, and like definitely I've had help. Like PRS Foundation are amazing at they will give feedback on applications and help you and encourage you. Like I have applied a number of times and haven't got it, but I have always felt encouraged to just keep going for it. And there's been like a belief behind me to say, just keep trying and keep learning. And like through that, I think it's a skill, isn't it, writing funding applications? And I feel like, each time I've learned something from it. And for me, the process, it's just been really nice. And I think the application is quite clear. Like even the budget and stuff, it gives you a template. It's all just like very, it's given to you. It's just quite clear of anyone that I've done. Like kind of, I felt like it was doable.
Well,
and
thank you.
and that's not
No,
for me,
yeah.
like I struggle to write about what I do. Like I struggle with numbers, all of that sort of thing. Like it doesn't come easily to me. It's why I make music. But genuinely, I did find it was helpful. And like also the YouTube sessions, you can, or is it Zoom sessions, I'm not sure, but you can,
Yeah.
I can't remember what they're called, but you can go and you learn like what you're actually looking for, and how to write the application and stuff. So I found all of that really useful.
Yeah, we do run a series of kind of like ask us anything.
That's it.
Ask us anything questions. Um, which hopefully do help as
Mm,
thinking of applying. Often sometimes it seems so it's a lot, obviously, applying for a grant, but it's nice for you to kind of put it into your own experience. I mean, we'll talk about tips later, but yes, obviously the budget is very important, and there are lots of other things to talk about. But what was the project that you applied for that you were successful with?
mm. So I applied to complete writing, singing, producing my EP called Divided, and the release of a couple of singles. Um, and it was to release with my label called Sound Records. Um, but the fund basically allowed me to accept the offer from the label. So they wanted to work with me, sort of liked previous EPs I'd done, and they sort of liked the concept of what I wanted to write. Um, so I had that sort of backing and support, which I think was quite helpful. And they funded the pressing of vinyl, so that will be out in September, which is great. And then PRS Foundation, has helped with like the creation aspect of it, and some of it has gone towards like PR to make sure it's like promoted and gets to as many places as possible, which is helpful because doing it all by yourself can be challenging.
Yeah.
Um, so it's my third solo EP, and I think that's probably part of it as well. Is that because I've released a couple before, I think this kind of made sense that I had like an understanding of what I really needed and what I really wanted and what works and what doesn't work. Um, so I think that's probably part of why it made sense this time to have the funding.
Yeah, no, it's interesting also that you talked about what the money was spent on. I think it's good to mention that you were able to have kind of some of your own time, apply for your own time through this grant as well, because I think a lot of music creators just don't know that support is available. So it's good to know that you can apply for your own time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that was so beneficial to me. Like, I'm also a parent, and so I'm always weighing up, like, what I'm going to do. That means that I'm actually earning enough money, and I think for everyone right now.
yeah,
But definitely just knowing that, like, okay, my time has been paid for to actually just give everything that I can to this EP. I think you can hear in the music there's like there's definitely like an evolution in my sound. And that part, a massive part of that is because I had time to sit and do it and focus on it and not have to worry about, oh, I'm working for free or anything like this. Like, do I need to go and do a gig later on today to make up the time I've put into this? Instead, it was like, yeah, actually, I can just relax and just focus. And I think you can hear that in the creation. Like there is like I felt very free to just what I wanted to make.
Oh,
Which is
that's so good to
incredible.
hear. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, thank you.
No, it's so great. And well, we talked about kind of tips earlier, and I'll mention a few as well. But from your experience, do you have any particular tips that from obviously having applied previously and then
Mm.
applied successfully? Is there anything you noticed?
I definitely would say that, like, I think the mistakes I made when I first was applying for stuff is you sort of see funds come up and try and create a project based around the fund. And
Mm.
actually, I think the best thing you can do is apply when you've got something in mind, you've got a project that is sort of already somewhat in its workings out, and then you really know what you need to apply for because
Yeah,
you've already got a bit of a budget in place, and it's just I think it just means that you have like a clarity there, and that
yeah,
from what I've noticed, like that is what is often successful. I'd also say make sure you give yourself enough time to write it, make sure you've got time to read it back, make sure somebody else can proofread it. That sort of stuff is all really useful. And definitely like know that you might get rejected, but just keep going for it.
yeah.
Like, and it's not always personal to what you've applied for or your music or anything. It's just that the funds, there's like so many people applying at the moment. It's like highly competitive. And so you've just got to brush it off and just
Yeah.
go again for the next time. Because I think every application that I wrote, it got better. And I have more understanding of like what the PRS Foundation was looking for and also what I was looking for and what I actually needed.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think definitely having a project that is already you're already thinking about and is like in the works somehow, so has some sort of support behind it. I think that definitely helps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would say the same kind of thing. We always apply for what you need.
yeah,
Um, it's such a good point that you made about trying to shape a project around a fund. But it, it is always best to just apply for what you need. Then you can cost it accordingly, and you know what you're applying for. Also, yeah, excellent points about leaving yourself enough time.
mm,
Um, Note the deadlines and give yourself enough time. I love the fact that you said give it to someone else to read. I would suggest giving it to someone else who's not involved with music to read so that they can like even so that nothing is assumed, nothing so that nothing is so anything that's in between the lines can be picked up. We touched on the budget earlier. It's very important it balances and
yeah,
it's and kind of we break down cost amounts through it, and everything is kind of there's a lot of attention to detail, and it's quite clear exactly where which money is going for where, and breaking down, how many hours this is, how who which instrumentalists are using this, which PR company, just making it as detailed as possible with obviously a limited word count. Um,
yeah,
our My advice is always to kind of like think about where you are now and where you want to be and how this project is gonna get you there and what the kind of end goal is. A lot of the successful applications we get are ones where everything is kind of in line and ready to go, and all you need is kind of the money to get there.
yeah.
Yeah,
I would definitely say that was a difference for me this time. It really felt like everything was ready to go, and it really was like I really just need this money to make it happen.
yeah,
Um, so that makes sense. And definitely, yeah, the thing that I've learned is actually having those things in place. So already be in contact with, say you want to put some
yeah,
money towards a PR company, have decided which PR company that is, have the
yeah,
quote from them, have the agreement that they want to work with you on it, have it all in place. I think, yeah, definitely before I've just been like, oh, I put some money towards PR, but I didn't really
yeah.
I didn't really know which company it was or have an agreement in place because all of
Yeah.
this stuff, like you have to make sure that these people want to work with you too.
Yeah.
Um, so I think yeah, having things in place and be really clear like why it's that company or that label or that instrumentalist or that collaborator or whatever. Um, I think because it just makes it really, it's the clarity, isn't it? I think
Yeah.
to yeah, what it's all for. That's what I've learned from like I'm kind of pleased in some ways that they were unsuccessful before because I think I would have been in a bit of a mess because I didn't have all of that stuff in place.
Yeah.
Um, it was the time that was like, oh right, okay, yeah, like everything's really ready, and like there's all these people saying we're going to back this, we're going to work with you, so
Yeah.
it made sense.
Hmm.
I think before, yeah, I think I could have ended up in a bit of a mess because I didn't have it all lined up, basically.
Yeah. No, it's good to see hear the kind of the silver lining of
Mm,
it all. I would also like to kind of obviously applying for funding is a lot, but we do encourage applicants to apply for other funders as well. Some applicants just don't know that that is okay, but all of us all funders would encourage you to apply for other funders as well, and one can kind of inspire the other. Um, yeah, I mean, it's been so great to kind of like hear your journey and how everything's going so well now. I mean, you just had your single come out. Um,
mm.
what is next for you?
So next is the EP that is coming out in September, on September 13th. And we're doing an EP launch, which is exciting. And then a mini tour as well. Um, yeah, to sort of promote the album, play it live. I'm really excited for that. I've just filmed some of the live set as well, so there's going to be a few, yeah, videos coming out of what my set will be like. Um, and yeah, I feel very inspired from having written this stuff. So I'm actually working on some new music now to hopefully release more next year.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, that's good. I think like yeah, when you've got something in the works and it's seems to be going well, it's quite a nice moment to just yeah, I feel inspired and very creative. So
yeah.
feel ready to just yeah, keep going,
No,
really.
we're really excited for you. I mean, do you have any kind of last advice for anyone coming into this fund that we
Mm.
haven't mentioned already?
Um, yeah, mostly just like connect to your community, I'd say as well. Like talk to people. I have a lot of friends that have had like also got the funding either from PRS Foundation or from other funders, and like I think working together to be like, oh, what works for you, what didn't work for you, and yeah, I think talking to people, especially if you're a solo artist, like it can become isolating at times. So just yeah, reach out to people, connect. Like I'm very happy to share my experience with anyone and talk about what worked for me with when I applied and was successful. Um, and also talk about, yeah, I'm very open. Like I'm happy to talk about when it wasn't successful, and it is knowing that, yeah, things ebb and flow, and
Yeah,
sometimes you're not going to be successful, but it's okay, and you just, yeah, have to pick yourself up and just, yeah, keep going, and yeah, mostly just keep being creative, because it's never a reflection of you personally or your music. It's just mostly it just comes down to whether it's the right time or not. So you just got to
yeah.
keep going. Um,
Thank you
yeah.
so much. Oh,
No, thank you so much.
thank you so much. And thank you for joining us today, Lara. It's so great to hear about your musical journey over the years. And as I mentioned before, Women Make Music is currently open for applications. The deadline is the 9th of September at 6 p.m. and applications can be made by the PRS Foundation website, prsfoundation.com. If you do have any questions, do get in touch on info@prsfoundation.com. Thank you again and goodbye.